Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our reaction show. And it's reacting to the fact that Lionel Messi has won his 8th Ballon d'Or award. I mean, that is a phenomenal accomplishment. Let me put it this way. To be in contention for 8 Ballon d'Ors, that is amazing. That is amazing. And I think you have to give props to Lionel Messi for, putting himself in a position where he can win those many Ballon d'Or awards. I mean, I can't even say it. Ballon d'Or, and Ballon d'Or awards. Very fantastic. But I've got to say, this one, unfortunately, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people are going to be angry about this, disappointed about this, whatever. But the fact is, I don't think he deserved to win this. I think this is Ballon d'Or. I think that's what you should call it, because it is ultimately that. And this is not something that is a knee-jerk reaction that has happened. I've seen the rumors about this for the last, 2-3 weeks. So I've known that this is going to happen. But I wanted to wait till it was official. I wanted to wait till it was actually all said and done before I talked about it. And the fact is that, I said this back in the summer, after the season was ended. If you remember, we did the season review show. For those of you who do watch this, for the 10 of you who do watch this, we did the season review show. And I asked in that I asked the question, should Lionel Messi win the Ballon d'Or? And Ballon d'Or, and I think a lot of people said, I think it was, I can't remember, but I think people said it was split, right? I think for me, at that time I said, it's lazy. It's lazy if Lionel Messi wins it, because what it does is it shows that people who vote for these things don't look beyond, the hype. They don't look beyond the glitz and the glamour, because the World Cup is that. The World Cup is a 7-game tournament, right? People will say Lionel Messi won the World Cup, and yes, it's a phenomenal achievement for Argentina. It's a phenomenal achievement for him. Regardless of what I think about the World Cup itself, it was still special for him to win it. But it's a 7-game tournament in a season that spans 50-60 games. Like, if you count that, it's about every team plays on, the big teams play about 60 games a season. You're talking about 7 games in that span of time. There's somebody has performed well. Was he even the best? Was he Argentina's best player in that tournament? Probably he was. For me, I think he was. I think he, at times, he did carry that tournament. You could say Emiliano Martinez was good. I thought Rodrigo de Paul was excellent. Julian Alvarez was excellent. I think Julian Alvarez, was a critical piece in that team in terms of winning it. But that being said, I think Messi had a very good tournament. So yes, he does deserve plaudits for that. But it's a 7-game tournament. Even if he had 7 Man of the Match award, it doesn't mean anything, because he was shit for PSG. He was shit for PSG after the World Cup was over. They didn't qualify. They didn't go past the round of 16 in the Champions League. They didn't win. I think aside from Liga, they didn't win any of the other tournaments. Liga is not something that you really look at and go, wow, what a wonderful achievement that is. So it's not like he's done a lot outside those 7 games of the World Cup. But again, it's PR, right? It's PR to say, well, the World Cup is the biggest tournament in the world. It's not the biggest tournament in the world, according to me, but nonetheless, it's the biggest tournament in the world. So he's won that, therefore he should win it. I think there's a bit of a justification, a narrative justification of trying to push Messi to win another Ballon d'Or. To me, I think it smacks of laziness. As I said before, it smacks of desperation from FIFA to milk this cow as much as they can. They want to milk it, and they want to milk it for Lionel Messi. And you know what? I don't put much emphasis on these individual awards anyway. I've always maintained that they don't mean much to me. I think I'd rather see, my favorite club, whoever that, I don't want to talk about it, but rather see my favorite team or my favorite club win a trophy rather than one individual player win these sort of things. That's just my personal preference. But I know people attach a lot of importance to these things. And when you attach importance to these things and you see that kind of thing happening, I think you've got to say that it's just meaningless, and it makes it meaningless, and it makes football seem meaningless. Because anybody who's watched, and again, here's the thing: who votes for the Ballon d'Or, right? It's the journalists, but it's also the national team managers and the national team captains. How many of them even watch the Premier League on a daily basis? How many of them watch Liga on a daily basis? How many of them watch MLS on a daily basis to actually see what Messi is doing in those games? Maybe MLS doesn't count, so you're talking Liga and Premier League, because you're trying to compare. Probably the closest challenge is Haaland, right? So you're comparing Haaland to Messi. I don't think Haaland should win it either, by the way. For me, I think it should have been Rodri or Gundogan, because those are fantastic players. But those kind of players never win these things. They never win it. They'll never win it, which is again another question mark on the credibility of these awards. If you're going to give it only to strikers or goal scorers, I think Modric won it, but Modric also won it on PR, to be honest. But nonetheless, the fact is that the defenders and midfielders don't win it anyway. So you're talking as Haaland to win it. And I thought Haaland had a better season than Lionel Messi. Let's be honest, Haaland had a better season than Lionel Messi. So if Lionel Messi deserves to win it, I think Erling Haaland deserves to win it more than Lionel Messi does. That is my personal opinion. Because again, if any of those people who voted, if they've watched the Premier League and they've watched Liga across the season, they would say that yes, Haaland deserves to win it. But we know those people don't watch it. How many of us as fans watch both tournaments? We don't. right? We don't watch every game in the Premier League. We don't watch every game in Ligue 1. We don't watch every game that PSG plays or every game that Manchester City plays. We don't. But what we all would have done is many of us did watch the seven. I didn't watch because I, pretty much didn't watch the World Cup, so I don't really care much. But everybody, almost everybody, in that footballing fraternity watches the World Cup. So there was 7 games. Haaland didn't play in those 7 games in the World Cup which is not entirely his fault. Messi played, he had a good tournament, and people go, right, Messi should win it, and let's all vote for Messi. And I'm sure there's some pressure as well from media as well. Oh, Messi should win it, Messi should win it. There's a lot of there is PR in these things, there is politics in these things. We know that, we can't get away from it. Football is about that now. So that is there, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse, because that's there for every player. Like even when Ronaldo was winning it, I'm sure there was some PR there. When Modric won it, there was a lot of PR there as well, which was done by Real Madrid to not let Ronaldo win it because they were pissed off that he had left them and gone. So there's things like that, and I get that. But ultimately, I think the fact is that these people who are voting for these things don't watch every game, and they are the ones who are deciding who wins it. So for me, I think again, I've got to say this. I think it's just disappointing. It's not disgusting, but it's disappointing that Messi has won it, because to me it shows that there is this lack of football interest from the people who are supposed to be watching the game. That from people who are supposed to be voting on these things, I don't think they're doing it fairly. I don't think there's a fair process. I think Erling Haaland has every right to feel robbed about this. And the most telling thing, I think, is Pep Guardiola, when he comes out and he says, well, if Messi wins it, it's okay. If Erling Haaland wins it, it's okay. That's him basically saying that I know Lionel Messi is going to win this thing. I know Haaland is not going to win this thing, but I'm not going to fight for Erling Haaland, because for me, Lionel Messi is my first love. He's the guy who's made me who I am as a manager, so I don't want to go against him. So I'm not going to stick up for my player. I'm going to stick up for somebody who used to bring me success. So you see that, right? You see that kind of thing. And imagine Sir Alex Ferguson or somebody like that ever saying that one of his players doesn't deserve, one of his players who's rightfully deserves to win it, but also another player also deserves to win it. He would never say something like that. If it was between Ronaldo and Messi, he would say every day Ronaldo is the one who deserves it, because Ronaldo is his player. He would never say, oh, Messi also deserves to win it. But that's the world that we live in. But where people know what's going to happen before it happens, and it's just a matter of everybody just accepted it and is just moving on. That to me, I think, shows a lack of interest. I think it's just sad. It is just sad. I'm not a Ronaldo fanboy. I know people accuse me of that. I'm a Ronaldo fanboy. I'm not. I'm not a Ronaldo fanboy. I'm not a fanboy in general, and I'm not a fan of individual awards in general. But if you're giving them and you're putting importance on them, then you need to make sure they're credible. You need to make sure they're legitimate. And I don't feel that Lionel Messi's award is legitimate, because in many ways there were players who were better than him. And it's just that he's played well for 7 games in an overrated tournament, if you ask me. And he is now being handed an award just because he's someone who's marketable and likable, and that's what it is. So Erling Haaland, I don't know if he feels that way, but if he feels like he's been robbed, he has every right to feel robbed. And it's just I mean, you can put for me anyway, the award lost of credibility when they basically canceled the award just so that they didn't have to give it to Lewandowski. I mean, that to me that killed the credibility of the award completely. To actually cancel an award just because you don't want to give it to a player, because your favorite player is not going to win it. As an institution, your favorite player as an institution is not going to win it. So you're going to cancel that award. And then, you do that. I think that's the moment it lost all credibility. And I think today what we have seen, for me, I think it, I would suggest that if you're a fan of football, you should stop paying attention to these awards. Just stop giving the attention to these awards. I probably, I should be the first person to say this, but yeah, it's just sad. It's sad until unless the process is improved, and the process needs to be improved. Because if you're asking people to vote on it, and you don't know if they're watching all the games, which they are not, then how is it legitimate? How is it? Then basically what you're doing is you're voting by media, aren't you? You're going by what the media is telling you. Well, this player is good, so you should vote for him, right? And then you're just voting from that. Anyway, well, all of that said, I will say again, I think congratulations to Lionel Messi. It's not entirely his fault that he has won this award. I would say, of course, obviously he must have done some PR work as well for that. So it's not like Lionel Messi is entirely blameless. He's done some PR work, but I can't really blame him for that, because as a player, you want to do that, right? You want to tell everyone you're the best. So I can't blame him for doing that. At the end of the day, so maybe he is not to blame. I would say, okay, fine. Let's say Lionel Messi is not to blame for this. He's won the award. But the fact is that he should not have won it, and that is on the decision makers. But nonetheless, congratulations to Lionel Messi. I'm not going to say well deserved. I'm not going to say well done, but I'm going to say that winning 8 is still, to be in contention to win an 8th is still a fantastic accomplishment. So whether he won it or not is immaterial. The fact is that he was in contention to win. I don't think anybody can deny that he was in contention to win. But he should not have won it, and that's a different matter. But he was in contention, and that's still a phenomenal accomplishment. So well done to him. And share your thoughts, right? I know there's going to be a lot of contention about this. I'm sure some people are going to hate me for it. Maybe some people will agree. Put that in the comments. Like I said, this is my personal opinion. Your opinion might be different, and that's okay. But it's just that World Cup thing, isn't it? At the end of the day, we believe whatever we want to believe, and we don't want to deviate from that opinion because we're so blinded by, it's always the process. Right? It's not about who wins, it's about the process. Who's deciding these things, and how are they deciding these things, and is that process fair? And I don't think it is. And that is what has that is the part that really annoys me, is that I'm pretty sure the people who voted for this, and I'll say it again, they didn't watch every game that Haaland played in. They didn't watch every game that Messi played in. What they did is most of them watched those 7 games that Messi played in the World Cup, and they went, right, Messi is the best player in the world. There you go, tick, tick, tick. That's what they've done. And the media, the people in the media have encouraged them. The people in Messi's PR team, probably in FIFA's PR team, they've encouraged, in UEFA's PR team, they probably encouraged them to do that. Probably not in UEFA, but definitely in FIFA's PR team, they've encouraged them to do that because it gives credibility to the World Cup, which they need, right? Imagine if the best player at the World Cup is the best player in the world, right? Imagine how, if you say that, then that does make the World Cup very, very important. So I feel that's happened, but that's not how award should be decided. Award should not be decided based on somebody, in the media because he likes or she likes Messi and they tell you go vote for Messi. That's not how it should be. It should be the person who's voting should be able to make an informed decision, and they should be in a position to make informed decisions, which I don't think is happening. Anyway, right. Feel free to agree on that. Feel free to disagree with that. Your opinion, absolutely valid, absolutely taken. So, but put that in the comments. Always love to hear from you. Smash a like if you enjoyed this video, or dislike it if you don't like it. It's totally fine. Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Always appreciate your support. I hope you don't. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.